We're just going to get started now. There's been a lot of talk on pandemic and how it's affecting women entrepreneurs, women around the world. We all know the metrics. We all know that we're severely underfunded. We all know that we're doing a lot of the work that most people could never imagine that we could do under these circumstances, caregiving, running our businesses, but also helping our nations, as some of these women are doing. So for today's session, I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves. They're all stellar. When you read their backgrounds, it's like imaginable. They've had 5 careers in one lifetime, some of these women, and extraordinary examples of what women can do when they decide to lead and give it 1,000%, and great role models for young women and girls. My personal mentor and guide has joined us today, and this is a woman that I call at 3 in the morning when I get stuck sometimes, and has been in my life. I'm so grateful to have her with us today, and I'm going to invite Damche Dem to please come and start us off. Like, tell us a little bit about your background, Damche, and then dive into what challenges your country has been facing. And BAWI specifically, for those of you who want to look it up, it's Bhutan Association of Women Entrepreneurs, BAWI.org. They're listed in the sponsor section, and they're you can check out what they do on their website. But for now, I'd like Damche to tell us a little bit about herself, BAWI, and some challenges that Bhutan has been facing. The Royal Kingdom of Bhutan is sandwiched in the Himalayas, small rural economies, happiest country in the world, and they have some requests here today, and we'll share their stories of the pandemic. So Damche, please start.
Thank you so much, Anu, for the kind introduction here. And I'll request all of you all to bear with me, because I have written down, and so that I don't miss out some of the important points. So I hope you all don't mind that I'm reading it out of here, okay?
Can you hear her?
Okay, great. Thank you. Zainab, you can hear? Okay, great. So first of all, before we begin, that we are all very concerned about the COVID pandemic. I think this is across the globe, But just to put into perspective, Bhutan's, the way we are handling COVID is His Majesty the King has just returned from a tour of the South. And he has now gone into 7-day quarantine. This is how seriously we address COVID in Bhutan. And the reason why I can say that today, that, with 868 COVID infected, we have 1 recovering and 1 unfortunate death. This is the story of the COVID. But now coming to association, and I will not take up too much of your time, but please do bear with me, and I will request to stop me. If Anu or Ajayta, whenever you all want, please do stop me, okay? So Bhutan Association of Women Entrepreneurs was established in 2007, focused on promoting sustainable and equitable opportunities for women entrepreneurs in Bhutan. Over the past decade, we have worked with government and international development partners in putting in place programs and activities for rural and urban entrepreneurs, proud recipients of His Majesty's National Order of Merit in 2016. Our primary focus is to provide access to finance, capacity building, integration into global value chains, and also developing gender disaggregated data. We are project-based and extremely grateful to our donors and partners. There are too many to mention here. We covering all 20 dzongkhaks, that is districts. Local level, okay. We work at a very micro, local level, creating enabling environments, rendering our support aligned with projects and in keeping with the needs of our target beneficiaries. We approach target communities listening to their stories in informal settings and have learned never to impose our, since perceptions differ, and our job is simply to offer suggestions and help wherever it is needed. Recognizing the instrumental role of entrepreneurship in its development trajectory, Bhutan put in place several government frameworks, guidelines, as well as policies to prioritize the promotion of entrepreneurship in the past decade. This comprehensive government approach has led to significant growth in entrepreneurship culture and CSIs in the country. Nonetheless, BAWI is the sole organization in the country that focuses on promoting and supporting women entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurship ecosystem in Bhutan is largely concentrated in providing services to early-stage entrepreneurs. Ecosystem actors focus primarily on inculcating entrepreneurship drive and culture, providing trainings and developing business skills. Entrepreneurship promotion and support is still a relatively new concept in Bhutan, and ecosystem actors are not yet accustomed to sharing information and implementing plans and programs in partnership. Although 63% of business license owners for cottage and small enterprises in Bhutan are women, women-owned enterprises also tend to be concentrated in crowded, low productivity centers. As women entering the labor market are disadvantaged in finding quality paid employment, they must often look to other sources of income, notably self-employment. This fact is witnessed by the high self-employment rates for women. Where women operate their own businesses, these tend to be in the most disadvantaged sectors, predominantly in agriculture. Even those specializing in industry or services tend to concentrate on a limiting number of activities such as catering, tailoring, beauty, and food processing. Women-owned businesses often lag behind male-owned enterprises in terms of size, productivity, and tend to be less profitable with little potential for further expansion. They are also less resilient to the impact of adverse economic shocks. Although there remains a lot to share with regards to global entrepreneurship and opportunities and challenges for women, I would like to focus today on the valuable role of digital trade as one of the drivers that can, to some extent, level the playing field for women entrepreneurs in Bhutan, whether rural or urban, and the importance of financial inclusion for women entrepreneurs through vertical integration. It is commonly understood that one of the primary challenges for entrepreneurs around the world is access to finance. Similarly, women entrepreneurs in Bhutan have also found access to finance their primary challenge. Women do not have access to financial institutions to secure, send, and receive money, obtain access to loans, or build a credit record that is gender-specific, including considerations of loan offerings. Financial institutions do not have specific financing options that match the needs of women-led micro and small enterprises. BAWI introduced BAWI Peljing Microfinance Bank in 2017 to address some of these challenges. However, we have found that much needs to be done with regards to financial literacy, as well as need to enhance and support the transition of microfinance borrowers into standard banking. BAWI aims to focus on programs to strengthen women's ability to grow their businesses through vertically integrated loan and trading programs. BAWI Peljing Land Health, our microfinance institution, is often referred to as the piggy bank of the poor. Our clients are mostly erstwhile unbanked and underbanked who live too far away beyond the reach and interest of commercial banks. 643 women have become our first clients. Most of them have never saved a penny in their lives, and what excites and motivates them the most is that they control their finances. We take our services right into their homes and fields using micro ATMs. That's how they have now, started saving. With regards to digital trade, e-commerce in particular, BAWI believes that e-commerce offers new opportunities for women entrepreneurs to participate in trade and global cross-border online trade. We have been fairly successful creating self-help groups headed by elected vice chair and treasurers, all women, aimed at enhancing volumes of select cash crops such as turmeric, ginger, Szechuan pepper, chili, ground apples, etc. So while this group is ready and extremely successful in what they are doing, on the other side, the startups and consumers who we thought would be delighted to receive their products were unable and unwilling to pay the high prices. The solution to this mismatch was to establish small processing centers in villages. This not only increases shelf life, but the scope for innovation that encourages youth to come home, to return to their villages. The solution to address the gap that exists between primary producers and urban consumers lies in digitalization and digital trade. Bhavi needs to help both technical and financial. Sorry, ladies. Bhavi needs help, technical help, to broaden and scale up to keep pace with the needs of our women entrepreneurs as they emerge to join the mainstream economies and create a conducive enabling platform. In the light of COVID-19 pandemic, Bhavi believes that it is an opportune time to reassess his role in the face of the deepest recession experienced globally with a devastating impact on women entrepreneurs. We are happy to share that Bhavi has made an in-depth realignment of his activities and plans in order to focus on meeting his vision of providing safeguards and support to women entrepreneurs in Bhutan. So we look forward to networking with all the ladies out there, all over the globe. We look forward to networking. We look forward for solutions from you all, so that we can get, started and get our, ladies also to join this very exciting journey that we are all in. Thank you very much for hearing me. Thank you.
You're on mute.
Help. Thank you so much. Wonderful. So as you can see, we are a live learning laboratory right here. These are the best of the best entrepreneurs coming together. Damche has just proposed her situation, and we all have technological expertise. We've made our own apps. We have our own programming and processes that could potentially go in and help. And rather than just talking about, successful women talking about other successful women, we're successful women taking this to the next level, which is actually doing, not talking. So ultimately, I'm looking at what Damche put on the table as a challenge that we need to address in the next 3, 6, 9 months, maybe even a year. And each of us has come up with something really innovative. So we're going to go around and talk about what we have that could potentially take Bhutan to the next level. And then we're going to talk about funding issues and challenges. She mentioned funding, but she didn't mention funding. So I'm going to let Kanta talk about funding when we get to that point. So let's go around the room. Ajaita, you start, and then let's go to Zainab next, and then Ami and Sidika, and then I will chime in with what we have, and then we'll talk to Kanta after that. Okay. So
first of all, I'm just going to take this chance to just reflect, right? I think that I was watching Sidika and Ami also smile like ear to ear listening to you, because I think what's really powerful about where you are at in the journey of where Bhutan is that it's the evolution of the last 25 years of India, right? In terms of how we've evolved with our understanding of multiple income streams being necessities, self-help groups being a cohort that actually can create a magnitude of other income opportunities, where financial inclusion has to change, where banking sectors have to evolve. But we also went through a massive reality check when all of a sudden, just literally 4 years ago, we went through a massive crash course in digitization. It was a crash course, right, of digitization with demonetization. So overnight, all of us had to start thinking about the role that technology needs to play in rural areas where bandwidths had to shift, where systems have to change, where we have to start bridging a lot of the elements you're talking about. Digital literacy, digital solutions, digital activation, but also the way like ecosystems can play with each other. So I just was like listening to everything that you're saying. And I'm like, yeah, like we're all literally, especially post-COVID, all sitting together going, yep, yep, yep. Like we all agree, right? And so I just wanted to shout that out very clearly to let you know, like your big neighbor right next to you is kind of going, yep, like, and I'm really excited to be able to say that like, we are here to give you solutions, right? And so I'll put this in my lens. So I came from microfinance for many years. So I know microfinance in and out. So like for me, I know the pros and cons of microfinance, and we have to go beyond that, where we have to start looking at data and start looking at capacity building of women and actually building a new rhetoric of history and that allows us to build credibility. The gap that we've always seen from day one is that it's not that women aren't capable. It's not they don't have the opportunities. They have the best asset on earth, right? Which is their social capital and their influence to actually help markets thrive. We know this. We have to just infuse the right technology to give them the asset that allows them to then, strategize on their social capital. So how do I take the knowledge that I know of my neighbors and use that as a data capturing tool to then start curating the right products and services that I can deliver, and then actually be the service provider of that village, right? And I think the key for me has been not to just create entrepreneurs that buy and sell stuff, but actually become a service provider in a village in itself. And that's actually what we did with our company. So Frontier Markets, that's what we do. We've literally like helped 10,000 women entrepreneurs, deep rural women entrepreneurs become service providers for their community. And we've created technology that is essentially an assisted e-commerce app. So going back to your other point around literacy and digital gaps and divide, right? We can't create pure e-commerce play solutions today. So when you said e-commerce, I snapped, but I also know it's about assisted e-commerce. Because where we operate, all of us, it's about making sure high touch does not disappear. And that's the element that makes women the strongest, right? And so how do you create an assisted tool? So this Meri Saheli app that we designed, I realized time and time again, and across India, across other countries, our women are not that different. It's a tool that we're happy to help kind of pass in your direction to see. The key here, though, is understanding the design of the model. Use her as an asset, which is leveraging her social capital to collect data to curate solutions and build a supply chain around that.
And it's proven. So Ajayta's already developed it. She has something that's working. So this is
yeah. So in response to we had 3,800 Sahelis on our MVP when we first tested it. Post-COVID, we have 10,000 Sahelis that are actively using it, that have 500,000 customers that are transacting because of it. And we've sold like 3 million different products and services. The key here, though, is that she's treated as an asset. So she earns income not just because of the transactions that she does, but also the data that she collects. And as you talk about linking this to markets, it's huge, right? Because think about all the different folks that you're talking about, government, policy, industries, they're all kind of going, well, I don't really understand this rural customer. I don't really know how to reach this rural customer. I don't really understand how to shift my realities around women. You're now building those asset classes. And it's a really interesting way to design this and leverage that. So I'm more than happy to do a deep dive on that element in itself. And I can see that very clearly. But I'm just, I literally messaged Anu being, let me be the first. It's just a heartfelt full circle because I know that it's very clear.
Yes. And that, I have been talking for years about how we're going to leapfrog, how we're going to just take things and run with it. And I think the timing could not have been better. Like this pandemic has brought us all together, and we are in this, we're just showing like what's been working for us and for you. And ultimately we're all going to come in and mastermind this together. So ultimately the people that are here are going to see how they can fit their technologies into your situation. So Ami, I'd like you to build on what Ajayta just said. Tech is great, but tell us about operational excellence.
Thank you so much, and it's amazing to hear that, and then Ajayta for what you've done for the sector. As you know, industry has been working in the creative manufacturing sector for over 3 decades now. And over the years, what we were able to define is a working model, which is where we realize that the women at the grassroots level do want to run their enterprise, but they don't want to run all of the nuances of it. And that's where we define what we call the professional management layer, or the para-professionals who go in there to assist them and help them with their quality checks, with their processes, their compliances, and so on and so forth. So much so that during the pandemic, we also took a leap forward to look into work from home scenarios, because it was important to continue for women to work and to earn, because the pandemic did bring in, did change a lot of dynamics. We all know that. But then, yes, this professional management layer helped them get their work back to them, ensure that compliances, even for something as important as child labor, to also something as basic as ergonomics, were met at home, so that the women could do and function, in this during these tested times. We also were. I'm happy to say that we also saw that women did see a raise in incomes, because the support extended was real time, and it was a solution. So definitely tech is an answer, and then the professional management layer, the model of supporting the producers by being one of them, and at real time is proven and done.
Can I just add one thing for yours, Ami, because I know you guys so well, is that the other element is linked to markets, right? One thing the industry's done super well is that they've been able to build the capacity of local artisans and then help them actually produce quality products that they're selling to outside markets. So your point about market linkages and like where the economy can come in, they've done such a phenomenal job with that, right? Like they have partners like IKEA and others, and you name it. And I think that's a critical element, right? That high touch capacity, market linkage is also a big piece. Been super instrumental in doing that. And also then becoming policy leaders around the artisan movement, right? Which is really critical. So I think that industry has like layers to offer as we start designing bigger and better, beyond just the robust opportunities and process. I'm going to jump in because I know you ladies, and I promised Neelam and Sairi I would do that. So I'm going to make sure that happens. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ajaita. Because yes, it's always the focus at industry that economic opportunity is what is most important. We can get solutions around that. And they're absolutely right that having good players with us in the market sector has helped us. Being a design-led organization has helped us design the right product and co-create it. So it's always an open discussion. And then, of course, the whole approach towards de-risking the supply chain by putting systems in place, ensuring that the women do what they are good at, and giving them the support at various levels so that they can continue doing what they're best at, and we support them in that. Eventually, of course, the producer company model will be able to absorb the professional management layer into them. But as of now, it works at different levels. We also do want that the community rises up and people from there join the professional management layer, which we're already started to see that the artisans, women, daughters are now joining us. So I think it's a good circle coming around. So yes, market linkages and the professional management layer, hand in hand, we can definitely have a solution which is workable and I think scalable for sure. Right? Back to you, Anu, and you need to unmute.
This is fantastic. And Ajaita, I love that you're here and you can guide because you're in market and you all work so closely together. If anything, this is women investing in women in India. And I'm so happy to see my sisters from other misters on that side of the world, just like driving this home. And this is exactly what we need, is just, coming in and just like lifting each other up. So yes, Damche, you've got like Dream Team 101 right here in this little screen right here. I mean, they're coming together from multiple perspectives. Yep, I see your 2 thumbs up. That's awesome. So it's not just the tech, it's how do you implement that tech. Digital transformation is layered, right? It's layered. Now there's one other layer, which is policy. We'll get to that a little later, but that's not so much of an issue in your part of the world. India has its own challenges. It's a beast, but it's a beautiful beast. It's a beast still. Siddhika, can you please tell us about She Rose Money and your innovations around financial inclusion. This is going to be cool. Everybody mute yourself if you're not speaking.
Thanks, Anu. Firstly, I'm just really happy to be here with all of you. You guys have all done such amazing work. Damshi, when you said and what Anu said, I was smiling ear to ear because financial inclusion, financial literacy is something that we've been as a country talking about for very long. Statistics are horrible. And with the new government trying to make initiatives in the public sector like a Jan Dhan account, where now apparently the inclusion of women in the financial space is up to 85%. But if you go in and you say, okay, how many of these women have actually used their accounts? It's lesser than 30% of them, right? So it brings you back to ground zero, and you're just like, you're saying something on TV, but actually on ground, the reality is very different. There is an entire segment of women which is in the rural space, and then there is an entire segment of women who earn approximately more than 1 lakh or more than 2 lakhs a month, and therefore are served by the traditional banking system, by the formal banking system, because these are big ticket revenue earners for the banks. Where is the missing woman in the middle? Where is the woman who does not fall in the microfinance bracket and does not fall in the traditional sector? Where does that woman go? And she wants to earn something. Shiro's today, for instance, over COVID, saw a rampant increase in the number of users in the community. Now, these women are coming online and saying, okay, where do I go work? How can I earn that extra money? If I'm going to begin work, what is the kind of knowledge that I need? So the business skills you spoke about, the training to really file your GST, your taxes, where do you go from there? All of these are question marks, and that's where Shiro's Money comes in. What we're creating right now, and we're in our beta testing phase, would love to work with you, but what we're really creating is taking the positives and the advantages of the rural microfinance industry. What works there when we really deep dive? It's the community behavior of women, kind of sticking together. A self-help group works because those 9 women know each other. They know who that person is. Can I trust that person? Can I save together? And therefore, is it safe to take a loan together, right? They teach each other. There is a safe space of conversation. Shiro's Money is actually a community-driven neobank. It's a fully digital bank where what we're saying is you come onto this platform and you're not going to be pushed transactions. You're not going to be pushed for open a savings account or take a loan from us, or this is where you need to invest. A lot of these women don't understand these jargons. You come in and you become a part of a community. Your profile helps us understand who you are and what kind of businesses are you interested in. Is it just about becoming a reseller? Is it about becoming a service provider? Is it you're a beautician? Are you a tailor? Where do you go from there? So what community can you be a part of? And how can I connect you to role models in your region? So how do I bring another lady who probably started a salon 5 years ago from very little money, but today has 5 salons because she's been able to franchise it, right? Still doesn't make it to the Times, still doesn't make it to the most fabulous magazines, but is a role model in her own way. So the first step of Shiro's Money is really connecting you with your community so that there's a safe space for you to ask questions, for you to learn about your business, for you to learn about everything finance that you otherwise wouldn't ask someone else. From that community, you go on to, the platform collects data about you. It collects an understanding of who you are as a user, and then gives you options of, okay, your business is actually cyclical in nature. Don't go for a saving account which isn't zero balance. You need a zero balance account because 6 months of the year, you're not going to have any income. So don't get penalized. Don't let your saving account get closed. So we are curating and streamlining products based on the profile of the person, and the woman is only going to see that one product or those 2 products which are relevant for her based on her profile. From there, there's a counselor all the time to support her where she can go and ask whatever questions she wants. The last thing that we're trying to really do is how do I really simplify this content? There are so many jargons in the financial world today that even I, as a very educated person, don't understand. I don't understand the equity market. I don't understand what mutual funds are beyond a certain point. I'm talking about that missing woman. This lady does not have any idea. She wants her money to be safe. She's already battling, society pressures. People don't want her to as much as go to a bank. Therefore, creating this digital space where it's easy for her to ask questions is what Shiro's Money is really doing. We would love to partner with you to kind of brainstorm on this together to see how this can work, in Bhutan. And Ajayta, I mean, I've been following Frontier Markets forever. I think it is such amazing work. But our challenge as we grow, and something that we constantly talk about internally, is we know there are these cohorts of women all over. How do we really go to these cohorts? And while you're taking care of, the rural world, and there are women already, as I said, at the other end of the extreme, how do I go to that middle tier? How do I go to another Jaipur and Indore? How do I go to the tier 2, tier 3 towns of India, where women are just not the real primary target segment for anyone in the financial space? And that's a challenge that I have today. And I would love to brainstorm with you guys on that.
So I'm just going to jump in on two elements of this, right? So Siddiqa, one is that that's a separate, I can easily get you connected to all the cities, because there's Women Up, which is all about promoting the urban women that are trying to now, and as you've seen with COVID, there's just been such a big transition with work from home, new entrepreneurs, right, that are forming because of the Zomatos and the Ubers of the world. Like, there's such a different shift that's happened, and we can have an entire conversation on that. But one thing I was going to say, Damshe, around, like, again, Shiro's, is that it's an evolution, right? So Shiro started off with a very simple task of wanting to try to get everyone connected on a platform. Can we just get women all across connected? And that's when they were able to build, like, the 10 million plus women that are on their platform, they were able to start leveraging simplicity of people just coming and connecting and trying to understand what people needed. What is really critical about this, and of course Anu's going to talk about this when she talks about all the brilliance that she's kind of designing, is that, like, earlier, especially for economies like ours, India, Bhutan, like, like Asia, like, where we're not, like, especially the kind of people that we're talking about, they're not comfortable with the digital transition, right? So you needed more, like, physical people hand-holding, right? Getting involved. The curation element of this was so huge. And today, like, I think all of us are constantly turning back to Shiro's and going, hey, like, can you create a chapter for me? I have this kind of cohort. I need to do this kind of stuff. Can you create a chapter for me? In fact, they just launched something with Google Internet Sathis, which is rural women, that I am like, okay, can I just onboard all those rural women that are on your platform to become my Sahelis? Because this is a no-brainer. So there's a way to kind of think through power of platform, power of other. You don't have to recreate everything. I think is a critical element that was always been my takeaway from Shiro's. Use what they have, and how do you integrate that into, like, your society? And your job is kind of get them onto that same platform and let them then do the harder work that allows you to do the even harder work, is kind of the takeaway for me always.
And there is no reinvention of the wheel here. As you can see, one takes from the other, and combined, it's like so many layers are coming together, and it's all directed in one goal. So this is Team India right here, the best of the best in India that we're showcasing. Yes, I say that, Ajayta. I'm so proud of you. Exactly. And now we're going to shift gears. I want to take this in the direction. We've got a Buddhist kingdom, we've got a Hindu republic, and now we've got the Republic of Turkey. And Zainab and I met through an Islamic Development Bank competition earlier this year. It was a COVID solutions competition. There were 5,000 applicants. Out of that, 173 countries, 30 winners. There were 7 women. Zainab and I were one of the 2. She was one of the Muslim ones, and I was one of the Hindu ones. So I'm so delighted. We connected through the pandemic, never met in person, like many of you on this call. But we've come together, and I said, wow, what a cool technology. We absolutely have to showcase you. And she's going to tell us about what she's created that's super groundbreaking. And again, it's come during pandemic time, and it's designed for her country, but I believe it can be scaled. And so I'll let Zainab take the floor and tell us what her thoughts are and ways that we can address this problem.
Thank you, Anu. It's been a real pleasure meeting you and meeting all of you today. And I am sure we will continue our collaboration. Though I'm not in India or in Bhutan, my heart is out there with you for sure. because I really believe we can solve all the problems that we women face if we come together and we collaborate. And this platform that Anu has created for us, it's so valuable. It's actually priceless. And the fact that so the pandemic has brought along a lot of problems for the developing nations, especially, and a lot of the entrepreneurs who were just starting off, with the SMEs especially. But it's also provided many opportunities with it. One of the things that, I have been working on education, and I do own, actually, I'm a founder of a physical school, K-12 school, and it's called THINK. It's an abbreviation for technology and humanity. And the idea was to raise the next generation of digitally competent and entrepreneurially minded people. And when the pandemic first hit, we realized that we had to close down schools. We were really blessed because we had all the content that was available to be used for flipped learning. We had spent around 500,000 man-hours developing this content. And we had trained all our teachers and all our students to use technology as a medium of learning. It's something that many people actually resisted doing. There was this huge resistance towards integrating technology into education. Actually, technology integration in the education sector is still at 2%. It's unbelievable when you think about it. It's so low. It's perhaps, in terms of the vertical, the lowest penetrated sector. And why? Because we have major investments in education. Tradition has become a really important factor in education, in the minds of the learners as well as the parents and the academia. They tend to take it very personally when you tell them innovation is upon them as well as a sector. And I was an outsider who came in to Turkey. I was living in London, and 6 years ago decided that the digital age, well, this current era that we're living in, which we perhaps finally stepped into as a result of the pandemic, because we resisted going into the digital age for the last 20 years. 21st century did not start until last year. Now it started, and there is no going back. And when I came to Turkey, I said, we need to utilize technology in order to provide quality education to the masses. You in India, I'm sure all my friends out there, you're very familiar with this, but it wasn't so in most countries. I applaud you for the work that's been done there. But what we've done is we've set up now, as a result of the pandemic, we've set up an online platform where we're training people for a minimal fee. We're bringing them the top teachers in the country. We're curating the sessions. We've got content, we've got video, we've got all of that, but we match it with physical live lessons, because we believe that learning happens within a classroom environment. We need interaction, we need mentorship. And if we can't do that physically under the pandemic rules, we can actually utilize technology and all of these platforms that we have to bring the best of the best to anybody who wants to learn. But we needed I think what we need is we need a curated journey. And that's really quite critical, because you can't just leave people to their own demise and say, okay, there's content online and you go learn and you upskill yourself or reskill yourself. It doesn't work like that. And even with edX and Harvard courses, the completion rates are around 20%. People are not motivated enough. And if we're talking about the section of society, especially female entrepreneurs who are just starting out in life, who are using microfinancing and who want to be able to utilize digital technologies to transform their businesses, they need additional help. And that help can come in the form of, and I think this is what we can do together. And we would be more than happy to open up our platform free of use to any of the female entrepreneurs, because we've got content that we developed, that we own the copyrights to, on entrepreneurship, because I believe that people are not born entrepreneurs. They can be taught to become entrepreneurs. And there is a journey that you need to go through step by step. And we've used this, and it's been very successful. So we have a proven and a program that we have. where we teach technological tools, digital capabilities, just the basic capabilities of how to use Google Meet or how to use Google and how to set up a Google account. These are things that people are not necessarily aware of. And if you can help them do that, the change becomes transformational. And we will be more than happy. So this is my 2 cents. We would be more than happy to provide our platform free of charge with the content, which is also available in English. And for all those women who want to learn, who need this additional help. And I'd like to extend my gratitude to all the amazing work that you're doing for transforming your societies, because we're going to do this together, as you were saying. And I know that this era is going to be our era. We're going to change the world because we women, we know what changes. We go through it in a physical form as well. When you're giving birth, during pregnancy and birth, you actually go through a huge transformation. We're made to live through that and to actually learn to enjoy it. And men don't have this capability. And we don't need to be mothers to understand this, but we have this intrinsic capability, this change management and this leadership quality that we have. I think if we can join forces, the world will be such a better place, because the world needs female touch and it's lacking that right now. So thank you.
You're again. Unmute.
Thank you, girlfriend. I'm just making sure that nothing interrupts this beautiful dialogue. That was beautifully said, and this is coming from Turkey all the way to Bhutan, this conversation. So my heart can't be more full. And as you can see, Damche, these are real life tools and technologies that are working in other environments that are ready to scale, ready to go, and you don't have to build it or anything. Like they're being offered to you. I have an offer as well. I don't want to be left out here. So I've been building a podcast app by women for women. We've got 300 podcasts already uploaded on a platform called Sheconomy. I'm going to add it in the chat thread for anyone that's looking. It's Sheqonomi. And Sheconomy, you can listen to content around women's health, entrepreneurship, investing, business. And it's for those people that don't have visual technologies like Zoom or online learning. This is audio-based learning. And so what we've done is we have a team in India led by an amazing woman. And we know that Indian women rock from this panel. So basically, it's a tool that's been developed already. It's in Android, it's in iOS, and we're building it on a new platform called Kaios. And these apps, you can listen to content and learn. And every time you access content, like it, share it, and love it, you get rewarded with tokens. So Ajayta has been basically talking about data. Sidika is talking about data. Ami's talking about data. Every time women listen and learn, we're going to be collecting data. Are they interested in health? Are they interested in wellness? Are they interested in entrepreneurship, investing? What is it? And then based on that, once they get rewarded, they can invest in other women. They can buy products, or at the same time, they're learning about financial literacy and digital assets. So this is the direction that the world is moving into. These apps are live now. We're just waiting for regulatory approvals and so on and so forth. And at the moment, the technology has been built. We're just waiting for the final approval on Kaios. But that technology works on $10 mobile phones. This is what's going to be a game changer, because many of these women can't afford iPhones. Android, yes, we have that platform developed, but then when you're talking about the bottom billion, you need to be looking at low tech, high tech solutions that are applied, right, for communities that can afford them ultimately. So this is something that obviously we would love to see if there's applications in Bhutan. Our goal is really to start discussions where we can get permissions to bring these technologies in. So I think that would be our challenge. Our bottleneck is, can we do this? And if so, if you have a community that's ready to go, we would be more than willing to come and share whatever we've built. It's taken me 4 years, as you know. Like, you've watched this whole process and it's been painful. I will mention to all of you that yesterday morning we got some news. And I'm sharing it here for the first time. We have just been selected as winners of the SDG Impact Accelerator in Bangladesh. This is another global competition, and the target project is revolving around financial inclusion. So my stars are pulling me in the direction of South Asia, and I am coming to India and Bhutan and Bangladesh later this year. I look forward to seeing all of you there. And it's funded by the Turkish government, Zainab, this whole Impact Accelerator. I mean, go figure, like, of all things, the Turkish embassy in Dhaka is the one that's helping me implement, our scale. So I'm going to connect the dots with you again on that front. So that every single one of you is going to be getting phone calls.
Anu, can I shed some light on this? Because now that we have the three people that Ami, Kanta, and Siddiqa here, as because you and I have been talking about this for quite a days, right? And I'm just saying that, like, for all of us to be ready for Anu to come, this is huge, because the Kaios platform means that you're opening this to regular phones, like feature phones, like, it's also about building content in a different direction. So, like, I told Anu, like, I'm a small social entrepreneur, but, like, I literally do everything myself. But ultimately, building the podcast could be a game changer as we're thinking about what we want to communicate, the tools we want to take forward, and also how we cross collaborate. And Siddiqa, I saw your point about social reward structures. I mean, that's it, right? Like, and Shiro's like embodies that. But think about this in all different directions as we think about the industries that we're all involved in and how we kind of make this thing happen. It's a really interesting opportunity for us to also then create, design, and collaborate in a different way. And Anu's not that great at, she's great at promoting us. She's horrible at promoting herself. So I'm going to just put it out there. She's thought through this for like years now. Like, this has been her vision. This has been her vision to, like, kind of bring everything to a medium of equality of access, right? In the digital equalization of the world. And the idea was always to try to target the audiences that we all care about, right? And it's so exciting that she'll be able to get this accelerator to come. I'm just, like, really excited. The last time I saw her was the Global Enterprise Summit, and that was, like, literally years ago. And so now it's like to bring in, I'm announcing also, we have a design grant to actually get all of us on this call together in one room to incorporate a lot of these innovations, right? So, like, where do we start really bringing it together? Because I think that what she's trying to do is, I think we all know this. Like, I talk to Neelam about this on a regular basis. We can't do everything ourselves. It's not going to happen, right? Like, and frankly, like, where Shiro shines in, like, doing what they do with community, where you shine with kind of building processes and organizations, where Kanta, when she talks, will shine about platform policy creation and, like, really highlighting us as amazing leaders and kind of getting that entire ecosystem together. We all need to start thinking about that shared value element, right? And where does the platform that Anu bring and the technology that she brings also allows us to elevate in India in a very different way, and then ideally replicate to help beautiful initiatives like Damshe's work, and then actually incorporate where Zainab is coming in, right? That's a kind of my way of bringing this in. But I'm excited to hear from Kanta's reflections on all of us talking for so long, to kind of hear about, like, how do you see all of this, right? In terms of the entire scheme of things, of given what UN Women stands for, given the work that you're doing, like, connect all the dots, right? For all of us to kind of figure this out. Yeah?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ajata. In fact, I'm already connected. I had a chance to work with industry when I was part of UNDP. So we were working together on a big project. In fact, it was a large program. I'm one of the mentors on Shiro's platform. We are going to work together with you now, Ajata. And when I are connected, Damche, I just heard, and I'm really impressed. And Zainab, I have a family connection with Turkey, which we'll talk about later. So I already feel connected. And thank you, Anu, for giving us a chance to come together again, though, some of us were connected earlier. Number of things. So as UN Women, we have a mandate to work very closely with the government, wherein we have to align our priorities with the government priorities. So if government says financial inclusion is the priority for the new 5-year plan, then that is where we are. So we are at the center of where the government wants us to be. But as UN Women, we are basically working with women, and our job is to highlight women's concerns, women's issues, and the differential impact that the policies, programs, schemes, budgets have on women. So that is one part of our work. Secondly, we also assist and support the government in following the normative framework, saying they have to report to the UN on certain treaties and policies, and so that we help the government do that. Third, of course, we work very closely with the ground, force, as we said, because we also, so whatever we take to the government, it has to be evidence-based. So we need to know what women are talking about, what are their needs, and then only we can represent them. It doesn't give us an automatic right to represent women of this country. But in terms of entrepreneurship, we work with all kinds of women. We work with women who are at a stage in terms of entrepreneurship. We're also working with women who have nothing, and Ajeta, where we are working, where they have nothing else to think of other than raising their children and do something about it. So that maybe sometimes that is the last resort they have. So we have a complete perspective on what women are looking for, what their needs are, and what is the gap in the system. So it's very interesting project that I am working on called Second Chance Educational and Vocational Learning, through which we are trying to support women who could not complete their education to begin with. For some reason, they
come back. She'll come back.
She'll come back.
Yes, she'll come back. But while she's coming in, I'll just tell you, it is a phenomenal program. So kind of, Damje, kind of going back to like your thoughts around the crisis and the pandemic, right? When we're thinking about this program is really for those dropouts, right? Like I've been seeing crazy statistics right now, especially for India and Asia, about when we're in crisis, when we're in pandemic, there's always all these excuses for families to let girls drop out, right? That's like the one investment that you're ready to let go of when you're thinking about crisis and pandemic. And so there's unfortunately a massive in Asia, right? We're not even talking about India. It's like, it's Pan Asia where, you're seeing this big drop. So they're working on that to kind of bring it back in. All right. Is she back?
Yes, I'm there. Sorry. Thank you, Ajita, for covering me up.
Yes.
So second, that we are bringing them into the skilling system, where the formal institutions of skilling, which government is funding, don't have sufficient number of girls and women. We want to increase that number. And for that, we are working very closely with National Skill Development Corporation. We are training their master trainers on gender. We are making the classrooms and training rooms more women-friendly. And finally, we work very closely with the private sector to not only hire girls, but also retain the girls, creating that my friend from Bhutan was saying, that creating an enabling environment for women to stay in jobs. But we all understand there are two sides of the story. If you have time, I can share the best stories from India and also some of the stories which will break your heart. That in 21st century, this is what we are talking about. On the good side, let's talk about the good side. There are a lot of good things happening. There's this new wave, or I would say new generation of women like Ajita, what Side is doing. And there are many, many more who are bringing technology, who are bringing new ideas, who are connected to the world, who are getting the best practices from everywhere and trying it in India, because India is huge. While more things change, more they remain the same. That is how it is. That is number one. Government is also sensitive. So there's a lot of right noise, I'm saying. As far as women's entrepreneurship is concerned, women's jobs are concerned, because women are dropping out of the workforce, but many women are opting to start something of their own. That's how there's right noise from right corners. That's a great thing to my mind. And the third thing is that finance is being organized. I'm not saying there's a lot of it, but it is coming from different quarters and different forms. There are women investing in women. There are the venture capital funds are coming in small quantity, but then people are thinking about that. Also, some private equity funds are being also organized. Government has some schemes, but without, to me, I'll just take 2 more minutes. The major problem that I feel is that till the time women don't have assets in their name, they will continue to be on the margins, whether it is a land, whether it is house, whether it is movable asset. Women need to, and they don't need to shy away from owning assets. And that is one of the major barriers. Second barrier is that not many women are in the decision making at the highest level. We are 14% in the parliament. We are, some 7% or 8% in the boards. It is a very bad scenario. And we in UN Women say nothing about us without us. So if we are not present there, don't talk about us. Bring us in on the table, and then only we will talk about us, because you don't understand our issues. So I'm saying, if you bring in, I was reading a report today that if you bring in 10% more women in the parliament, the other sectors will improve automatically. And that is what is lacking in India. We are not there where we should be. We are still on the fringe. We are still on the outskirts of where the decision making happens. On the finance front, I'm saying women, particularly in rural areas, are not looking for big money to begin with. They're looking for small money, but everything comes with strings. We need to make collateral-free funding available to women, because there's no, as Ajita said, there's no dearth of talent, there's no dearth of wish to do something, and there's a huge demand and huge need from women's side to do something for their families, for themselves, and they have some of them, and some state governments are doing amazing work. Telangana, Karnataka.
Can I probe you? I'm going to probe you a little bit for just 1 second, right? Because you are like our amazing closer, and I think that, like, especially in the context of like what you're doing with India, like, and Anu was bringing this up in terms of like all of these, all ideas can be great ideas, but ultimately it needs to be backed by funding. It needs to be backed by collaboration, right? And I think that at some level, even when you and I connected about, looking at the SAC program, we were saying that, where does assisted e-commerce, women entrepreneurs come into what you're doing? And I said, let's take a chance. Can we start creating pilots and start leveraging the opportunity to get these governments to get more involved? And where do you see the place of like tomorrow, right? If Ami, Sadika, and myself kind of go, we want to go to Bhutan and spend time with Damche and start integrating pilots on our innovation. Is there funding available for something like this? Is there funding available for even Damche to come to India and get a chance to spend some time to get to see what we are all doing, and kind of design that? Where do you see the challenges, right, of taking these things to action? Because I think we all say, we all have great stuff and we all love each other and we all know what we can do. But where do you see the stalemates, right? And coming from your lens, what do you see shifting, or what do you see the opportunities in your perspective?
So there are many things shifting, Ajita. One thing is, and Patricia mentioned that, and that's my favorite line, that future is going to be collaborative. We are not going to survive working alone. So we need to work together, like you and I are working. I bring some strength and you bring in some energy, and somebody brings technology and somebody brings knowledge, and we all work together. That's one major part. Second part is communication. Let's share whatever we need, like what you just mentioned. Let's share what we need. And trust me, somebody from this audience here will come and say, hey, I can help you there. Let's start washing our needs out in the open. And trust me, things are changing, and changing so fast that this year is not going to be like what it was last year. It's going to change very soon. Tomorrow, if Damche wants to come to India, I can find funds from somewhere, right? So let's be hopeful. Let's continue to work in collaborative manner. Let's communicate, and let's think of the community. These are the 3 things that I always say: collaborative, communicate, and also think of the community, and things will change.
Anu, unmute.
So sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, so everyone else who's mute, please, for bandwidth. So I happen to share. You don't have to wait for the audience. You have someone right here looking at you in this very room that was a placement agent before working on women investing, women digital. So we've raised close to $1 billion for private equity funds, and with the money, the commissions and the money that we made before in a previous life, women investing in women digital was seeded with that money. The heart and soul of this is, how do we take the lens and how do we move the needle, right? So we're here now. It's been a couple years. We built this digital platform. We're not as huge as you, Sidika, but we're pretty big. We're global. As of today, we're in 100 countries, right, with this program alone. And we've shown what we can do in just 3 weeks of time. So this is us moving forward. I have tech that we've built that can be integrated. Ajayta and I have already talked about APIs that can be linked. We've got backends. We've got experts. I've got a lot of men who are sitting on the sidelines saying, we want to help. I just called them before I got on the call and said, do we have the tech ready? Can we go now? And they said, Q2, Q3, we're ready. Let's go. And when I say I've got dragons, like literally they will come and we will fly to your kingdom. Damche, we're coming. So ultimately, it's the support is on its way. This is not talk. This is for real. And Ajayta and I have been planning for years since we first met. And she came to one of my pitch sessions in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. She got funded. She got funded not once, but twice. And so when it comes to money, I can tell you where it is. And if we all decide we want to work together, we will make it happen. Zainab and I just won this amazing grant from the Islamic Development Bank. That's a $500 million fund, right? So ultimately, if we can figure out the synergies and how this is going to happen, we can make this happen, because that's the next step forward. And there's a lot of investors and philanthropists who have already invited to join Amplifying Her Voice. They were there with us since the opening session. They're here with us now. They're watching. I'm going to talk to them once this is over. Now they can see that this is real and this is tangible. And Kanta and I actually spoke about this also, about having women investing in women roundtables. We did these all over the world, in the Middle East, in Singapore, in Austria, in Scandinavia. So I know where the pockets of capital are. Once we come up with a structure and say, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to do it, it's not a question of if and when or how. We're about to do it this year. So we're really positioned. We're going to have a follow-up call as soon as you all are ready. Ajayta and I promise we're going to talk immediately after. Damche and I talk regularly. So I'm really thrilled of how this learning laboratory went. It's 10 minutes before the hour, and I promised we'd leave the last 10 minutes for questions. We are 1 minute to go. We covered everything we were supposed to do. Damche, did you get what you wanted out of this session? Do you feel like you've got strong partners ready to support you? Yes? Yes, we've got the money. Don't worry about that.
Let me take this opportunity, first of all, to thank all of you for really giving me so much of support and making me feel so loved. I really thank you all for all the support you all have given me. And I want to say from my side that what Bhutan has to offer is this wonderful raw material resource that is just being put together. And when it reaches your homes, you all are going to be so delighted. I can assure you that you all will be really, really be thrilled. So when all of us work together, as we said, the collaboration is going to really, take off, and it's going to make a lot of difference in all our lives. And I really want to thank each and every one of you. Sidika, I really will look at Shiroz, for your support. And Ami, each and every one of you all have really touched me, especially with your genuineness and wanting to reach out. Zainab, I loved Istanbul and Antalya. I was there. I really loved the place, and I really want to get back again. And Ajayta, you are the strength over here. That forceful, voice, it's pretty late at night for me, but you've kept me awake. And of course, Kanta, you are going to be the one who's going to bring all of this together. And I would imagine, instead of me going to India, it's better you guys come to Bhutan, because then there'll be so many other women who are going to benefit from you guys. And of course, my dear Anu, the one who wakes me up at 3 o'clock in the morning it has been worth all the effort that I put in, because your heart is in the right place. And that is the reason we'll succeed. Thank you, all the ladies. And I don't know who's the spectators, but I do hope we'll take something out of this. When we collaborate, things will happen.
Absolutely. Thank you all, ladies. Thank you all. So I'm going to open it up to questions. If anyone has, please comment. And we will be following up after this a couple days. Dante told me to take a break, and I'm going to take a break for a couple days. But then we're going to jump right back into this next week. We've all met, and we're going to have action steps, whether it's on Zoom calls or whatnot. In 2 months from now, we're going to have Amplifying Her Voices again on Mother's Day. So it's May 8th, 9th, and 10th. We're going to bring everyone back. We can do this call again and say, this is what we're doing. This is the next steps, action. So like I said, we're going to hold ourselves accountable. Why? Not just because of us, but for all the women that we're working for and the impact that we want to truly see. So this dialogue is going to get bigger and bigger as we go. And that's the only way to move forward, is to be consistent, to be committed, to be compassionate, and to be collaborative, most importantly. So all of you ladies, thank you for your time. I know it's late where you are. Ajaita is going to be pitching in the Dolphin Tank, and so is Zainab. We had 4 finalists from around the world, SDG-focused innovations, and out of all of the applicants from around the world, Dolphin Tank is featuring 2 of our ladies right here, and you can watch them in pitch session. We have one more from Bhutan, Yashi Shoge, who's also going to be pitching, and they're going to be talking about their pandemic innovations. And Springboard Enterprises, for those who are watching and you don't know, they have raised over $20 billion for women entrepreneurs. So when we talk about women and funding, exactly, like we're bringing the money to the table, right? Like they're watching, they're going to see this recording. And ultimately, you are welcome to share this with your communities as well. And next time we do this, it's going to be bigger, and we'll have more investors coming and philanthropists and so on and so forth. So this is just a first run. Thank you for putting your trust in me. Thank you for showing up, no matter how late at night. This is the first time, everyone, that we've all met in one screen. We've all had one conversation. It's all been on WhatsApp, different time zones. We did it. We managed. We're here, and we've got action steps for next time. And thank you all for joining us. I don't see any other questions. We're good to go. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Namaste.